To me, I'm just Shanique, and sometimes I'll see people on the street, and they're like, "Oh, I followed you. I bought a juicer because of you," and they'll tell me like, how it has benefited them and how it has helped them. So that means that there's a reason why I'm here, and that there's a reason why I'm doing this, and that's why I believe that I have to stay true to my community, and I only try to promote what I know that is right.
And we're live. And I guess I just have to apologize to everybody up front because something's wrong with my webcam and it looks like I'm doing the robot. So apologies, but got a great episode. We can get right into it. Let's play the theme song. It's another Friday. This week I did it my way. I made lots of juice and now I feel a boost. Baby say, oh, it's the way I make my juice. Pressing fruits and roots. This week I did it my way. Baby say, oh, now let's have some fun. There is nothing greater than Friday's at Good Nature. What's up, my juice lovers? Welcome to Good Nature Radio. This is your host, Charlie Wetlaufer, joined by the number one juicing consultant in the world, Chef Ari Sexner. What's up, Chef?
What's going on?
Author of The Juicing Companion. And today we have a very special guest, the one and only Shanique Simpson. Hi, Shanique.
Hi everyone.
Welcome to Good Nature Radio. Thanks for joining us today. AKA Shanique The Kreative Vegan on Instagram, and that's spelled with a K in creative. Shanique is a juice and recipe developer, and also you have your own CMOS juice brand called, what is it, Kreative Vegan?
Yes, Kreative Vegan.
Kreative Vegan with a K.
With a K.
And yeah. And she's also become a very prominent juicing influencer over the past few years with over 300,000 followers on Instagram. Congrats on that. That's amazing.
Whoa.
Thank you.
Yeah. We have a celebrity on today.
Oh, man.
So, Shanique, I think first we'd like to get to know you a little bit. So maybe we can just start with your background, where you grew up, and then maybe eventually how you got into juicing and vegan and everything.
Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Shanique. I was born on the beautiful island of Jamaica. First of all, yes. So I grew up around a lot of fruit trees, nature. Like I grew up in the hills, like countryside of Jamaica, Hanover Parish, and my grandfather, he was a farmer, so we had lots of fruit trees on the in the yard everywhere, right, on his property. So I grew up with lots of fruits, and if you watch my videos, you could tell that I really love fruits and I enjoy fruits. I enjoy nature. So I migrated to New York when my mother was recruited as a nurse. So I'm also a registered nurse. I'm second generation registered nurse. She was recruited in the late 80s because there's always a nurses shortage here in America, right? So she came, and then I came up like in the early 90s, and I did the majority of my schooling here in the US. But I retained my beautiful accent because my culture to me is very important. My mom would send me back home every summer to be with my grandparents, and so that's a big part of my life and who I am as a person. So yes, and then I went to college and I became a registered nurse like my mom. Yeah, so with me for juicing, you like when I started juicing was during the pandemic. I live in New York. Am I going too fast or is good?
No, this is great.
Okay.
All right, so I live in New York. In New York, we got hit first. On my mother's birthday, March 27, I had a fever. I was hit with COVID. I was isolated from my family because at that time we didn't know anything like how it transmits, like, and all of that, and incubation period, how long you should be away from your family and all of that. So I didn't have contact with my family other than like, you know, for a very long time. So during that time, I started like reflecting on, you know, um, my intake of fruits and vegetables. I have been a vegan prior to that, but I'm like I need a way to get more raw live fruits and vegetables into my system, and I thought the best way to do that was juicing. So that's when I bought my first juicer because I have a Vitamix and I've been like using my Vitamix and blending and straining, but it's just it was time consuming and all of that. So I decided to buy a juicer, didn't know which one to buy, so I just bought a random juicer. And then during that time, I was already creating content, but during that time, I was focused more on like vegan food recipes. And then I started posting juice recipes, which my audience just loved. And it just blossomed into now, like, all I do is create juice recipes.
What do you think was like your first juice recipe that really caught on and went viral or whatever?
The first viral one, I think it was like a pineapple. But what I used to do, and I is like I would add sea moss into all of the recipes, right? So I would just do a juice recipe, then I would put the juice in a blender, blend some sea moss, and at that time people were like, oh, I didn't know I could add it to my juice that way. So that sparked something, and during that time I was just using content creating as an escape. Being a nurse, I was just posting videos just to get my mind off of my everyday reality. So that was just like I'm in a different world whenever I create content and post that. It's not I'm not Shanique the nurse. I'm just Shanique.
Right.
Like, so it
It's
that
like
was
a
like a,
creative escape, right?
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
And were you still working during the pandemic as a nurse?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So
Wow.
That's
so
how
you're
I
on the
got sick.
front lines there in New York when everyone was still trying to figure out what was going on, because that's where it first hit really hard. So that must have been kind of
Yes.
scary.
It was scary because, as you said, we were hit first. We didn't know what to do. It's not like now when people are like, "Oh, it's nothing." It was very serious here in New York. It was like ground zero. So it was very hard. You know, dealing with um this new virus that no one was like fully prepared for, and not having enough supplies, all of that. And then you're worried that you're going to take this home to your family. So it was very hard during that
So
time.
you were kind of isolated for a while.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And it made me do a lot of self reflecting. It's almost like, I guess, when people get incarcerated, they start thinking about things like that they normally wouldn't, because now all you have is your thoughts. And then I'm like, okay, I need to implement these things in order for me to be my best, healthier self.
I did.
So
I'm
sorry, go ahead.
sorry. I was gonna say, um, did your mom or yourself? Did you guys travel a lot before you made it to New York? Or
No, so my mom came straight to New York. She was recruited by a hospital here. And so this was the first stop. And that's where we have been since.
okay,
So prior to pandemic, you
Yeah.
were already vegan and
Yeah.
making like recipe content and stuff. And have you been vegan your whole life?
No, I started in high school. I was first a pescatarian, and then like 2003, I went total vegan
Hmm.
or
So
plant-based.
It's a long time ago. Yeah. And
Yeah, I know.
has juicing always been a part of your regimen?
It wasn't like how it is now. I used to make juices like with my Vitamix, just like with a blender, just
Mm-hmm.
blending the juice and straining it. Not knowing that okay, the heat might take away some of the nutrients and so forth. Because growing up in Jamaica, right, every Sunday dinner is a big thing where that's the time when my grandmother would make carrot juice. So in the
Mm.
or like sometimes that's when you get like the fresh fruit juice, or we don't normally get it every day, but during that Sunday, it's like Sunday dinner is like a big deal. So my grandmother, she would make carrot juice in a blender, but they would boil it first so it gets soft, so you wouldn't destroy the blade of the blender, you know.
Oh, wow.
And then yes, they'll blend it, boil it, blend it, and then they'll sweeten it with condensed milk,
Yeah.
dragon
Mm.
stout, which like we're drinking, a little bit of liquor from we're small, and vanilla, nutmeg, cinnamon. They'll just spice it up, right? So that was a thing that's a staple in most Jamaican households on a Sunday. So when I got older, I didn't think of a juicer, right? I had my blender, which I used for lots of things. So I started off with just the blender only and a strainer because all of the fiber and all of that. And then I'm like, this is too much. I can't do it anymore. I need a juicer. So I actually asked my audience at the time, because I was creating content, what's the best juicer, and people were just giving me like different names, and I just decided just to get one, and then um started making videos, and then it just blossomed.
Great. Can we talk a little bit more about growing up in the tropics,
Yeah.
sort of what fruits you had access to, and maybe how that has influenced your recipes?
Okay, so one of my favorite fruits is a jackfruit because
I love
um
jackfruit.
yes, we
Yeah.
had a jackfruit tree in the yard, and whenever it would ripe, my grandfather would it was like almost like a ritual, right? I Whenever my grandfather would pick fruits, I would be like right there with him, just watching how he does everything. So with the jackfruit, they would take the entire jackfruit and throw it on the ground, so that way it drains out some of the sap, right? Then put oil on your hands, on the knife, and before you cut it, because the sap is very sticky and stainy.
Mhm.
And I would just sit there and just watch my grandfather do it. And then we he would just like uh take it apart, make and we'll just enjoy the fruit together. But not only that, he always reused the seed. He would take the seed and roast it. You could either roast it like,
That's awesome. Yeah.
yes, or
Interesting.
yes, so cool. And I didn't like roast it, or you could actually boil it and eat it. So it's very nutritious, and that's like something I grew up with. And mangoes, we had all different types of mangoes on the property, banana trees. Um, we had guinea apple in Jamaica, or apple is different from the ones here. I have created some content showing how the apple tree or the apple fruit looks like. It looks like a pear. Um,
Mm.
yeah, but it's like it has a
Wow.
light, refreshing, rosy taste
Sometimes
to
called
it.
rose apples, right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh
So
yeah, it
I
looks
grew up,
almost like a pear or kind of like a
Or
plum or
wax
something.
apple, I think
yes,
sometimes they're
Mm.
called.
yeah, but yeah, the wax apple don't have, some of them don't have that same big seed on the in the center. So they're
Mm,
like different variety of, like, I guess, of the same family. But yes, those are the
that's amazing.
names.
What about have you ever had the custard fruit? It's
Ooh,
like
that's good.
custard apple or
Custard,
something.
that's one of my favorite fruits.
Yeah,
Oh,
mine too.
oh my gosh. I
Yeah.
love custard apple, but they it's hard to get sometimes. So, but I love custard
Yeah,
apple.
the Asian markets will get it occasionally.
Yes, and they have
Um,
like the deep purple one also.
mhm. My wife is Vietnamese, and her mom, we'd always go to her house in Toronto, and she would like you'd go over and she'd have an entire jackfruit split open and pulling out all the pods and splitting it up for the family, and she'd give a bag to each of the kids,
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And she introduced me to the custard fruit, which I had never had. I was like, "Whoa, what is this? This is
No.
That is,
unbelievable."
And so creamy. It's like I'm telling you, everything in nature. There's everything in nature that you need, like you know. So it's like
Yeah.
that's why they call fruits nature's candy because there's so much different flavors and textures and everything.
I just Googled Dragon Stout here. It says it's a
Yeah.
Jamaican beer that's known for being a darker and stronger version of Red Stripe. It's made with roasted malt, Pilsen, caramel coloring, hops, water, and sugar. So they would mix that with the carrot juice
Yes.
and condensed milk. Sounds
Hmm.
delicious.
that's so cool. Like the same, like right around the same latitude, or like for Jamaica, all Thailand, Mexico, and they have like the same exact produce, and you see like their cuisine has a lot of like similarities and stuff. Like with the jackfruit, my wife from Thailand, she showed me boiling the jackfruit seeds, and I thought
Yeah.
she
Oh,
was
cool.
crazy at first, but it tastes
Yeah.
amazing, and
It does.
So,
and
so you can actually eat the seeds after you boil it because the seeds are pretty big, right? They're like big pods.
yeah, it's kind of like a fava bean, like a larger pod. You just kind of after it's boiled, you take it out.
Hmm.
It's really good though.
Yeah.
But same with like the condensed milk. You guys have something that's called peanut punch. Is
Yes. We
that
make
right?
peanut punch. Yes.
So that's kind of along the lines
The
of
same base. Yes.
like a plant-based milk a little bit though, right?
Yeah. So with the peanut punch is they blend the peanut with oats and they'll put Guinness a Guinness stout in there, and it's mostly used like as a stamina drink, almost like aphrodisiac kind of a thing.
Mm.
So it's supposed to give mostly men will drink it
Mm.
because it's they call it strong back, make your back strong, so yeah, but yeah, definitely they blend it up and same thing they'll put like condensed milk sometimes and make like a very strong energy drink.
That's what I always wondered, is not a lot of people make like peanuts in the milk. I've never really
Peanut
experimented with
milk.
that, but
Yeah, interesting.
who knows?
Have
Yeah,
ha-
it's
have
really
we have
good.
we tried making jackfruit juice, Ari?
Oh, we have it. So a lot of the tropical product is a little tricky,
Yeah.
especially just from the mushy content of it. So it has amazing flavor, uh, but the yield is a little low. But it works amazing in like adding as like a puree into your
Like
juices.
smoothies. Yeah.
Like a little bit goes a long way. Yeah, it's amazing in smoothies, and of course everyone has the vegan tacos with the jackfruit where
jackfruit.
they just
Yeah.
kind of, because it's got an
That
amazing texture. But
yeah. Then I've had the jackfruit pulled pork, like vegan pulled pork sandwiches. Those are really good. It's like barbecue jackfruit. That's really good.
yeah,
They normally use the green jackfruit for that. In Jamaica, we normally don't eat the green jackfruit. We wait until it's ripe. So the green, like making it into foods, I think that's more like an Asian cuisine. And
Mhm.
so like I didn't experiment with that until like I became older because we normally don't eat it raw. I mean, not raw, but
Unripe. Yeah.
green, young.
that
Hmm.
that reminds me of something. So papayas are amazing there, I'm sure. Do you have different applications from like the the traditional papaya to like the green papayas? Like, do you
Yes,
guys do
even
anything with
so,
those?
with the green one, we normally don't use it
Mm.
green. We normally wait until it's ripe, and we'll eat it that way. So yeah, there are different cultures.
Hmm.
They have different recipes and so forth. But in Jamaica, maybe nowadays someone will probably
Uh-huh.
use it in like a salad. But
Hmm.
growing up, we just waited until it was ripened and then we'll eat it.
What about the seeds? Do you guys do anything with the papaya
Mm,
seeds?
Generally, no. It's just
Okay.
like compost goes back to the earth
Yeah.
type of thing. Um, no, but yeah, I've seen people do a lot of creative things with the seeds
Yeah.
on social media. Like they'll make grind it up to make like a pepper. They
Yeah.
use it to as a parasite cleanse and so forth. But it's good for that. But it also has. I did a video on it before where I spoke of like it can cause premature labor. So if you're pregnant, you should not use the seeds. And yeah, and I think some cultures use it as like I don't even know if I could say the as um I don't know if I could say the word here,
Okay.
Okay.
but
That's now I'm interested. No, I'm kidding. Because I
It's
remember
something.
there's a lot of like old cooking books. Like I love going to seeing like really old recipes. They're usually really bad, to be honest. But
yeah,
in a lot of cooking, like they dehydrate the papaya seeds. They grind them, like you said, and it's like a natural tenderizer for like meats and stuff and digestion. It's like, oh, it's really weird, the
yeah,
history of food in some
I
categories.
know because I heard it's also good for for gut health and so forth.
Yeah.
So.
So being a nurse, I've just heard from talking to other people that work in hospitals that generally the food they serve employees and patients is not very good. Like, what's your take on that?
So, I've seen a change in the food, um, where and well, I worked in medical search on a medical surgical unit where it's just adult patients. So I've seen where like in peds, the food is geared towards like what a child will like comfort foods and so forth. Um, but when anytime the patient gets their tray, they're always just like, "Oh, what is this?
Mm,
I don't want to eat this. It's not, so it doesn't look appetizing, right?" But I've seen a change where I once had a patient newly diagnosed with cardiac disease, and they brought up a tray for him that says heart healthy, and he was looking at his plate and he became very upset because his neighbor had meat on his
mm,
tray and he didn't have any meat on his tray. And he's like, "Where's the meat?" And when I looked at the menu, it says heart healthy, plant based. So now they actually doctors are the hospitals or whomever, they're seeing are they're actually, I mean, they have been seeing the correlation with you know um meat based diets and your heart. Like, so there's no cholesterol in plant based foods. So they gave him a tray with just vegetables and so forth, but mentally he wasn't ready for that, and no one spoke to him and told him, okay, now that you have heart disease, you have to decrease your meat intake. And he was like really upset about that, so I had to call the doctor to come and explain it to the patient. So in that aspect, I think that's a good thing, but you also have to make sure that someone is mentally prepared to say this is a lifestyle change that you'd have to make, instead of just like bam, like here it is,
right.
you know because even when I started in high school, I started to change my diet. I didn't start and just say, okay, I'm not gonna eat any form of meat anymore. I wasn't big on red meat, but like in Jamaica, we eat like you know. Actually, I started eating more red meat when I came to America, like um, than I did when I was back home. So like the oxtail is like the biggest red
Mm-hmm.
meat for us, right? I from when I was little, I never liked pork, so I I didn't eat pork or beef because like the stringy. I didn't like stringy meats. From when I was smaller, so I started by just like, okay, I'll stop the oxtail, then I stopped the chicken, and then I was a pescatarian for a while, and then I stopped eating fish. So with something like that, when this is a okay, you're newly diagnosed, um and now you have to make these changes in order to be healthier. It's always good to sit down and talk to the patient to say, okay, um these meats has meat based products have high cholesterol, is so this is not good for you anymore, and like help them, like with the help of a nutritionist, ease into like a new diet where they feel like they have a choice, or they feel like they're a part of this change.
I
Yeah.
think
um
I think one of the problems is that most doctors aren't even really educated in nutrition, right? I mean, they spend all these years in school and they just learn about medication and operations, but they don't spend much time on nutrition itself. It's like I've heard from one doctor that he took one class one semester for his entire degree or something.
I,
Yeah, that's
I,
true, and that's why in most hospital is a interdisciplinary team, which consists of like the social workers, the nutritionists, the nurses, the doctors. So it's like an entire team that works with a patient. So
Mm.
most times, like in the computer system, like we do the nurses, like if we're admitting a patient, we do a section on like nutrition. So like if we feel like this patient is underweight or overweight, we could actually trigger or send a message for a nutritionist to come and see the patient. So which I really like. That is a good thing. I
Hmm.
mean, I guess maybe it varies from hospitals to hospital, but like as a nurse, I always feel like it's good to advocate for your patient, to say, okay, a nutritionist has to see this patient because, okay, maybe they're underweight, um, or overweight, or you see choices or decision they're not ready mentally to make these lifestyle changes that they should make. So you need someone to speak with. Um, and yeah, sometimes like the most of the times people do not like the hospital food. At one point, the hospital I worked at, patients could order food, but and then they'll have it delivered. But they stopped that because sometimes these patients were supposed to be NPO, like they weren't supposed to eat anything because they're going to surgery, and they ordered food. So it there's a lot of different
yeah.
dynamics when it comes to
Yeah,
that.
I imagine they're under like a lot of pressure from like regulations, and they got to kind of follow procedures so often too.
Yes.
There's so many places, but that's fascinating, that topic that you mentioned about with the uh, the heart healthy vegetarian option, and he wasn't into it.
Yeah.
It's a lot like that with juice menus. Working with clients, a lot of times people love sweeter juices or
Hmm.
pure vegetable juices, and writing menus for people, uh, it's important to show them that they need to have a range of flavors, the steps, the procedures, because I mean everyone's at a different level in their health journey, and that's why those steps are so important. I always tell people when they drink juice consistently, a lot of times they start going for more of the savory blends after time, and
Hmm.
less fruits and more vegetable based. But it's important to have that range because you got to be able to jump in at a place you're comfortable with, and slowly progress in the way that you want to. So that's
Yeah,
That's so
for
true.
me now, I love like a super spicy ginger lemon recipe with just a little apple,
mhm.
um, like where it's almost hard to drink, but that's just what I like now. Where in the beginning it was definitely the more sweet stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And especially for me, like with the warmer drinks, I feel like this time of year, my body craves for that warmer, more extra ginger drink.
Yeah.
You want to add a little bit more, and to warm yourself. And I guess it's your body's way also of like coping with the outside environment, is like in a way like adaptation. So
That's awesome.
definitely.
Yeah.
And that's true too, like having a different a wide range of recipes is always essential, because everything can't be or shouldn't be sweet.
Mhm.
So I started adding like cilantro to pineapple
Mm,
juice, like,
that's cool.
and it's not as sweet, and it has that flavor, so it's something different. And you know it, it's really good, like, to add like different herbs or spices also.
Yeah,
So
it just gives you that little essence of something a little fresh. I really like it
yeah,
too.
definitely.
So you've used all kinds of juicers, slow slash masticating juicers, two-stage juicers like Pure Juicer.
Mhm.
Have you seen Hummingbird yet on our channel?
I have,
Any?
and it looks so cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing for people like you that maybe make a lot of juice is that it can just make very, very large batches of the highest quality juice. Like in just a few minutes, you can make 4 bottles of juice, and if you spend 45 minutes, you can make like 30, or
Yeah.
more. So for me, I just love going in the kitchen, making enough juice there. I can drink some and bring some to my family, and there's juice for like half the week. So I'm really excited to send you one and see what you think.
I'm so excited to try it out, and the dimensions of it, I can't believe, like, it seems smaller than like the dimension of the pure juicer, but then
It
it's
is.
like so
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah, it's more narrow than the pure. It is a little deeper on the counter, but that doesn't really matter because it's not like you're using the space behind the juicer. So,
Yeah.
but it's also half the weight of the pure juicer and the small model makes at least twice as much juice as pure, and the large model makes like 4 to 5 times as much as pure. So,
Wow.
and even the large model, the body's still the same size, just literally just the press
Oh, really?
box is bigger. So,
Oh, okay.
um, yeah, so it's pretty cool. We're
Yeah, that's
just uh, we're
You
just
always say
waiting for the
it's
final parts to come in. Then we're gonna start building these things.
you always say
yeah.
it's fun to juice on.
It is.
You
It
know.
looks fun. I've watched a few videos. I've watched a lot of the videos, and even I like the color. I don't know if you know this, but green is one of my favorite colors.
Oh,
Nice.
green.
Yeah, I really like green. I think it's because I like nature. Because where I grew up in Jamaica is we're literally in the mountains, so like I used to just
Mm.
enjoy just looking at the green lush view.
Well, I hate to disappoint you, but that is the M1 you're talking about. The hummingbird
Oh,
is just
oh, it's the
black and white are the colors we're offering. Yeah, but
Oh, okay,
the
okay,
M1 looks similar, so I can see the confusion on our content.
yeah,
The M1 is like similar size, but hummingbird makes more juice than the M1. Is a lot lighter weight and definitely more appropriate for like someone
for
juicing at
home.
home.
Okay.
We could
So
paint it. I mean, you could paint it
yeah,
any color. You know, any
we'll,
shade of
we'll
green. You know.
we'll do a custom unit for Shanique. So throughout your content creating, have you had people reaching out to you and discussing their health with you and asking for help? And like, what's that experience been like?
Yes, and that's the scary part, because I know, as a nurse, I know about malpractice and all of those things. So that's why sometimes I'm afraid. And I always try to, like, even if I'm creating a video and I'm talking about the benefits of that particular fruit or vegetable, I try to make sure everything that I'm saying is factual. Sometimes I do. A lot of times I get DMs about, people going through different things in their lives, and they're asking me, "Can you tell me like which juices are good for this and that?" And I'm very careful, because I don't want to get in trouble personally for like
Yeah.
saying, okay, Shanique said this thing will cure me from XYZ, right? So but I do listen to my audience and I try to, create recipes and give them information that is best to my knowledge without, trying to go against what maybe I don't know what their doctors are telling them also. So
Hmm.
I don't want to, um, contradict that and like say, okay, I'm telling you to do something that is really not good for your health because you only told me about this one thing, but then you had a slew of other things that I didn't know about. So I'm definitely not going to diagnose anyone, you know, just to keep it on the safe side. And but in like if they ask me, okay, what fruits or vegetable that I know that could help them, okay, like okay, you're anemic, add more beets or spinach or leafy greens like to your diet or something like that. I get a lot of people who are having like who are constipated. A lot of people are constipated, right? And I feel like the number one thing to do is like drink a lot of water. And I think people don't drink enough water or liquid um in general. So then they end up, with
Hmm.
this or eating high fiber fruits or juicing high fiber vegetables or whatever. So but constipation is like a big thing for a lot of people and it's their it's our diets, we eat a lot of people eat a highly processed diet because the if you look at the standard American diet, it's a lot of processed foods. And I think that the best way for us to like heal ourselves is to really take a look at the foods that we're eating and try to put more whole plant-based foods into our diets.
I guess I just want to ask you one last question here because a lot of things I've heard from, when we do consulting for Juice Bar clients and they're asking for marketing advice, we're telling them, hey, put yourself out there, get on Instagram, get on TikTok or whatever, get on Facebook and share your story. And a lot of them just feel, they say, oh, well, I'm not good on camera or I feel weird, like I get nervous. What advice do you have to people that are maybe feeling a little scared to put themselves out there and share their story?
So if you knew me like 4 years ago, you would know like all the things that I'm doing. Even this, I would never have thought that I would be on a podcast. Like
Yeah.
I am very shy. I'm very reserved. I am, and I think that's for a long time. That's why I always like with my juice videos. You always only see my hands, and I'm always behind the camera, and
Hmm.
I'm just doing everything, and you don't even know. Like if you look at my page at one point, would be like a faceless page because you really don't know who's behind the camera. And what I'm learning because taking the advice that I'm giving also is not to be afraid. And as I get older, I'm learning that you know you have to go past of that thought of what you think people are going to say about you,
Right.
right? You have this great product and you want to show it to the world, but you're shy. Don't think about your uncle or your aunt or that friend who's gonna say, "Girl, what are you doing? I saw that video. It doesn't look good." Don't listen to them. Because if you listen to those naysayers, you will never do anything and you'll never accomplish anything. You have to just put yourself out there. Don't think about them. Just thinking of, even if it's that one person who you're going to help, just think about that one person who the message that you have inside is going to help. So just post that video, go in front of the camera, talk about your product, and don't be afraid. Um, and as I said, I've come a long way, and I started to even I always like get invited to like YouTube events and stuff like that, and I wouldn't go because I'm like, I'm not gonna know anyone.
Hmm.
But the day when I just decided, okay, you're gonna go, I met people who didn't know anyone either, and then we just became friends, and we spoke, and you just become comfortable after a while. So it's just like you're just going to have to do it. Just do it. I never thought that life would even take me to this point. As I said, I'm a registered nurse. I was just posting for fun, just to get away from everything. And then it became a business for me. So just, you know, focus on you, on the goals that you want to achieve as a person, and don't think about anything else. And just keep doing and keep pushing. That's all.
Yeah, that's good
And you,
advice. I heard one piece of good advice once where they say if he's like, well, who are you making content for? You're making content for the people that like your content. Don't worry
yeah,
about the other people.
exactly.
Even if that's only a few people, the people that like it are going to like it. And the internet's a big place, and there are going to be thousands of people that connect with you because there are billions of people on the internet, so it's like you don't have to, not everyone that sees your videos needs to love them, because they're just going to
Exactly.
scroll past it and they're going to forget about it 5 seconds later. But the people that stop and engage and start following you and engaging with you, and then you actually maybe help them get healthier and actually change their life, I mean, that's great.
And there are also people who are always watching you, but they never like your content, but they really do like it.
Right,
That's
no,
why
exactly. Yeah,
the views compared to your likes are always, it's never balanced,
yeah,
but they're watching it for a reason. So
yep.
just keep on doing it. And if one platform, like if you're posting on Instagram and it's not working, post on TikTok, post on Facebook. Your audience could be Snapchat. I think people don't even think about Snapchat, but Snapchat is also a very a place where you can grow. So now Threads. I noticed like Threads is like, if you're not on Threads, get on Threads.
Really
Um,
interesting.
yes, I didn't know. Like I'm posted over there like crazy now. Um, it's and I feel like right now Threads is almost like what TikTok was. So if you
Mm,
get into it at the beginning stage, it'll be better than waiting. Um, so yeah, your audience will be somewhere, because some of the engagement I get on Threads, I don't get it on Instagram, and it's supposed to be like the same people, but it's
interesting.
not.
Yeah.
So you'll discover new people somewhere else.
Mm.
YouTube is great for community. So I feel like once they find you on YouTube, they'll stick with you there. Um, so try different platforms and see which one works for you.
Sorry, I guess I skipped over one thing on the agenda here. I want to talk a little bit more about CMOS,
Hmm.
because that's definitely been a trending ingredient and trending
Yeah.
topic over the last couple of years. Maybe we can start with, like, what are the health benefits of CMOS?
Okay, so and I'm laughing because growing up in Jamaica, what we sea moss is normally put inside of the peanut punch too,
Mm,
So in Jamaica at one point it was just like a thing that men would put in their peanut punch to give them
for
stamina.
stamina.
Yes, stamina is a big thing, as you can see the coming into
Yeah.
here. um, so they would put it in there for that, but like as I grew older and of recent years, I started researching sea moss. It's also great for your gut health. It's also good for persons who have like thyroid issues. um so it's like it's some people would say it has like over 100 minerals. Scientifically, I don't know if that's correct, so I won't make that statement. But is an algae, so it does have a lot of the same components that like seaweed would have. So um, I would say that,
Or
right? So
would you think it's kind of similar to like spirulina as well? Probably,
yes,
like all
definitely.
the really nutrient
Yes,
dense.
yes, it's a sea vegetable. It's green. The green. Well, there are different types of sea moss. They have the
Hmm.
green ones.
Purple one.
So depending on the color, or like the purple ones, like it has different nutrients in it, just like a vegetable would, right? So to me, they're like, as I said before, like people with gut issues. What I normally do is take a spoonful, like in the mornings, and that's one thing that I found that it helped me with was is my gut issue, because during the pandemic when I became sick, I started to develop some gut issues that I didn't have before. And when I incorporated sea moss in my teas, like I would make a cup of tea, put a teaspoon of sea moss in there. I found that it actually helped me with my gut. I saw my maybe my gut biome or whatever. So I that's how I used it to help me heal. So some people use it like as a multivitamin because it has so much nutrients in it. So they'll take that as just a supplement instead of taking like a multivitamin,
Hmm.
because it has vitamin K, A, like it has so many different vitamins.
Then
How
I'm guessing you've got like the ultimate plug on getting fresh sea moss from the Caribbean.
Yes, I do have a good link to get some quality sea moss.
Nice.
how is it typically? I know you mentioned people put it in peanut punch, but how do people typically consume it in Jamaica?
Yeah. So okay, in Jamaica, the way how we normally prepare sea moss is with like hot water. Some people boil it, and so that way it gets softer, and then we blend it up, and then you put it in a jar to store it, right? Um, some people will eat it raw, like so another way to prepare sea moss is just like soaking it overnight. And if you have a high speed blender, then you blend it and it gets really soft. And you put it in your refrigerator, it solidifies. But in Jamaica, we typically put heat on it to get it really like jelly.
Hmm.
Yeah, and yeah, mostly we put it inside of our drinks.
The sea moss juice you sell, so are you making juice and blending it with sea moss in a blender and then selling it by the jar?
Yeah, so I do both. So I sell the raw sea moss, like if someone would like to purchase it and make it into gel on their own, they could buy the the raw sea moss. I also make the sea moss gel, in jars, and I ship those. Um, and also, I do create juices, and I add it to the juice. But I normally ship. That's normally for just like NYC. I don't ship my juices.
Okay, look, thank you. This has been so much fun.
Yeah.
And I think we should encourage everybody to follow your journey. How can they follow you on your various channels?
Okay, so I'm everywhere as Shanique the Kreative Vegan with a K, creative
Mhm.
with a K. I'm on YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat,
Threads,
Facebook, everywhere.
Yeah,
TikTok,
threads now. Yeah.
Threads, a
whatever
lot.
that
I'm
is.
heavy
Yeah,
on Threads right now.
um, great. So yeah, so let's get you back on after you have a chance to play around with Hummingbird, and we'll get your feedback on that and reconnect. And
After you paint it and everything.
yeah,
Oh,
after you paint it green.
oh man.
All
Yes,
right.
I definitely. I enjoyed this. This was really fun, and thank you so much for having me. And as I said before, like it's opening a different side of me, because I may seem like I'm comfortable, but and that was a great question for you to ask me, because I have struggled with being in front of the camera and just being that person, because I'm an introvert, naturally an introvert, but uh, I've come to realize that every time I try to stray away from juicing, it pulls me back because
Pulls me back in. Yeah.
it does. And when you ask that question about people asking about their health, I've had people who are undergoing like chemo who actually reach out to me and asked me about like different juices and so forth. And soursop is one of those fruits that I also grew up with in Jamaica, and using the soursop leaf and all those medicinal properties that plants do have. So while they're taking chemo, I'm also creating these juices for them to help them along with that journey. So it 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 just like meshes together in a way where I can't escape from, because like I do want to help, and I do want people to feel better and to be their best selves. So so this get for me to have this platform, I really can't shy away from it, because people to me, I'm just Shanique, and sometimes I'll see people on the street and they're like, "Oh, I followed you. I bought a juicer because of you," and they'll tell me like how it has benefited them and how it has helped them. So that means that there's a reason why I'm here, and that there's a reason why I'm doing this, and that's why I believe that I have to stay true to my community, and I only try to promote what I know that is right. And I'm not just gonna say something is good because I'm trying to make something out of it, because I think or make something from it. It's deeper than just like a monetary thing for me. It's more of trying to educate people about how plants could actually help them to make their lives better. So, you know, um yeah, so that's why I just have to keep going and keep pushing, because there are people out there that actually need this.
Well, I really love your passion. We love talking to passionate people. That's my favorite part about the juicing community is it's just full of these passionate people, and you meet them and they're just so full of life and so vibrant. So thank you for doing what you do.
Thank
And
you.
thanks for coming on the podcast. And yeah, let's catch up soon.
Yes, definitely.
Awesome talking to you.
Have a good day, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Peace out.
It's another Friday. This week I did it my way. I made lots of juice, and now I feel a boost. Baby say, oh, it's the way I make my juice. Pressing fruits and roots. This week I did it my way. Baby say, oh, now let's have some fun. There is nothing greater than Friday's at good nature.